Hello! We would like to welcome you to the new episode of our new podcast.
You
And I.
Ukrainian New Identity.
This podcast will help you
And us.
to reinvent Ukrainian culture, history, and traditions.
And to see the history through the eyes of ordinary Ukrainians.
We will also highlight differences and similarities between British and Ukrainian cultures.
My name is Maria Kush. I'm Ukrainian refugee from Sumy.
And my name is Zhenya Shkil, and I've been living in the UK for more than 20 years.
By the way, Zhenya, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, it was a fantastic weekend. I managed to harvest the crops that I had in the garden. So
No!
I have plenty of wonderful cherry tomatoes and plum tomatoes, and I have some cucumbers, and I had some herbs as well, and onions and garlics, and a few potato bushes even.
Oh, you're lucky. You have a land because you probably live in a house. I live in an apartment and I have my small balcony, but also have a tiny bit, a cucumber, a small tomato. Is just like my son said, it's for toy breakfast salad. But it's interesting, I'm pretty sure all Ukrainians know or have some challenges at the childhood when they have to grow some crops. And it's, I wonder, is it same in UK?
According to Article 14 of the Constitution of Ukraine, the land is the nation's main wealth under the special protection of the state. But for Ukrainians, this is more than just a line in the law. It's part of who we are. More than 70% of Ukrainian families own or cultivate a piece of land, a field, a garden, or a small dacha plot. Even those living in big cities usually have relatives in the countryside, and that connection to the soil remains unbroken. Across Europe, you won't find many nations where homegrown food is so deeply woven into everyday life. For Ukrainians, land isn't about business, it's about belonging. We plant in spring, harvest in autumn, dry apples, make pickles, and save seeds from year to year. Every family has someone who knows when to start seedlings or how to preserve tomatoes for the winter. Psychologists sometimes call it the survival gene. Through every hardship, Ukrainians have relied on the land to feed their families. And even now, that tradition continues, only in a new form. Young families are returning to their roots, building eco-gardens, producing organic vegetables, and rediscovering the quiet strength of rural life. For children, it's a kind of forest school, learning how to read the weather, feel the soil, understand nature. For adults, it's a way to stay grounded and independent. The land connects generations. It teaches patience, resilience, and gratitude. Ukrainians are, and have always been, a nation that grows life.
I think quite a lot of British people who live in a countryside, for example, I live in a little village near Bath, so many people who have their own piece of land, maybe garden, they have a kitchen, or like vegetable garden, kitchen patch where they would probably grow a few tomatoes, some cucumbers, maybe onions, herbs, a few strawberry bushes. So I think it's quite traditional, but not so much in cities and towns. I don't think so.
But you can agree that Ukrainians are all the same in this thing. Like, you can't imagine at the summertime when you go to your parents and come back to your home, you will find somewhere some cucumbers or tomatoes. They definitely there. They will put you with this journey with bags full of veggies. And we have a lot of memes with that.
You can't visit your parents without getting something. Take some zucchini. We have too many. Don't forget the pickles. Mom made 20 jars. In Ukraine, vegetables are love language.
Just remember in my childhood, I'm not sure whether yours was similar in this respect. As we all know, Ukrainian summer holidays last forever. 3 fantastic months of beautiful weather. And what did our parents do with us? Of course, send us to the village where grandparents have a huge piece of land.
And you have to work.
And you have to work really hard, but it's also fun. And I was really lucky that my grandfather was from a farmer's family. As we call it here, he had green fingers, so he could grow anything and everything anywhere and everywhere. And actually he saw in me the same feature that I was very good with plants, I was very good with soil. So he taught me to grow vegetables and fruit, and I really enjoyed working in the garden.
Yeah.
And I know I know many people in this country wear gloves. I love just putting my hands into the soil, and it's not the same here. It's not black. In my
It's not that soft.
It's not that soft as well. We have lots of clay nearby, and lots of stones as well. But stones are very well known. But anyway, it's still such a pleasure just to put your hands in there, to feel the warmth and lushiness of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, it's kind of in a way work, but also you kind of relax there. I have in my balcony, I have a lot of pots with the flowers, and I feel like every time when I feel down because I lost the energy at work or somewhere, I just come back there and do something like for 15 minutes, just, to grow in from one pot to another one, and I already have kind of like more energy than before. And it's really interesting. Like, it looks like Ukrainian is belong to the land, and they also have kind of part of the land in their identity.
Well, it's interesting you're saying this, because I just remember the first episode of the podcast that we recorded, and you remember when we spoke about coat of arms of Ukraine, and I said I thought there was a digging fork in it. And I'm just thinking, is there an interesting meaning in the word Ukraine?
Actually, let's ask our English friends.
I was told that Ukraine meant borderland, that it's a Russian or a Ukrainian word for borderlands, the border between the Rus in the east and the Polish-Lithuanian Confederation in the west. And so in the UK, we've got an area called the Borders, which is the area between the south of Scotland and the north of England. And that's where the oldest regiment in the British Army comes from. The Coldstream Guards were part of that area of the Borders. And it's an area where you got the toughest and the most vicious fighting going on, and very warlike peoples. And so that seemed to have a correspondence with the idea of the Don Cossacks and kind of how they would scare the living bejesus out of the Poles and the Lithuanians. So it seemed to make sense, this idea of the borderlands, as a definition for Ukraine, but I was wrong.
The first mention of the word Ukraine was in year 1187 in Old Chronicle.
Yeah, the Chronicle of bygone years, I think it was.
Yes, it says, and Ukraine mourned greatly after the death of local prince. That's the 12th century, long before Moscow even exists. We know that Moscovia was mentioned for the first time in 15th century. So, border of what?
Yeah, actually doesn't make sense, does it?
Some Ukrainian scientists said that actually some word Ukraine is basically starts from word cut.
Oh, like to cut off bread.
Yeah, so it sounds like vkrayaty. I would say in Ukrainian. If you want to say in Ukraine, in the old Ukraine, please cut piece of the bread, for example, you will say vkrай mені хліба.
Yeah, sort of slice me off a piece of bread. Yeah.
Yes, so it sounds vkrai. But if you would say like bread which is already
sliced
in the pieces, you would say vkrayený, ukrayený. So it means cut into the pieces. So basically, in the old version of Ukraine, this is the steppe. And you can't measure your piece of land for your family by, for example, from this river to this river or from the sea to the forest. It's a steppe. So you have to kind of measure it by some kind of cutting it from your neighbors. And basically, even now, when you go to, for example, autumn to the countryside, you will see on a hill different patches of the land from different families. And it looks like, patch. And it's really interesting because from this point of view, even the word Ukraine means the land.
Yeah, land sliced into fields, each dependent to individual family.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I can see it working. Much more than the border land of
Definitely.
Russia. Yeah.
The name Ukraine has long fascinated linguists and historians. Today, two principal scholarly interpretations are considered most significant. The first derives Ukraine from the Old Slavic word krai, meaning land, region, or country. In this sense, Ukraina would simply mean our land or our homeland. This theory has been supported by scholars such as Ivan Ohienko, History of the Ukrainian Literary Language, 1937, Yuri Shevelov, A Historical Phonology of the Ukrainian Language, 1979, and Grigory Pivtorak, Ethnic Formulation of the Ukrainian Nation, 1993. The second explanation connects Ukraine with the Old East Slavic verb vkrayaty, meaning to cut off or to carve out. According to this theory, Ukraina could literally mean the carved out land, a territory claimed and defended by the people. This idea was first articulated by Alexander Potebnia, Iz zapisok po ruskej gramatyka, Volume 1, 1874, and later expanded by Ivan Ohienko, The Name of Ukraine, 1949, Winnipeg. Both emphasized that it reflects the historical process by which Ukrainians shaped and defended their territory, particularly in the Cossack era. Whether from krai, meaning land, or from vkrayaty, meaning to cut out, both theories share a common truth. The name Ukraine reflects belonging, the making of one's own land, and the will to defend it.
Well, thanks for sharing this interesting theory with me. I had no idea, but what everyone of you definitely know is that Ukraine is a breadbasket of Europe. And this is not just history, it's true today. Ukraine is a major exporter of several key crops, including, of course, sunflowers. You can see my beautiful sunflower here, corn, soybean, wheat, barley, and it's vital player in the global agricultural market. No surprise here.
Ukraine is one of the world's leading agricultural nations, a country that feeds millions far beyond its borders. Before the full-scale invasion, Ukraine ranked among the top 3 global exporters of wheat, maize, and sunflower oil. In 2021 alone, we exported over 45 million tons of grain to more than 120 countries. The European Union is now our main trading partner. In 2024, the EU accounted for over 55% of Ukraine's agricultural exports, with major shipments going to Poland, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, and Germany. But Ukraine's agricultural success is not just about grain. We also export dairy products, cheese, honey, berries, poultry, and oilseeds. In 2023, Ukraine supplied more than 100,000 tons of dairy goods abroad, and cheese production grew by nearly 10% despite the ongoing war. Behind these numbers are people, farmers who continue working under fire, repairing machinery, clearing mines, and sowing crops on dangerous land. Ukrainian soil is not only fertile, it's sacred. It carries stories of generations, of work and resilience. Today, as we defend our freedom, our land still feeds the world with bread, oil, and milk. Ukraine remains, and will remain, the breadbasket of Europe.
So shall we think for a moment how important is it to support Ukraine and its farmers?
And its land.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just about Ukraine or Ukrainians. It's about food security for the whole world, global world. Right now, in the middle of war, farmers are risking their lives every single day.
They're starting to kill farmers, and there's a very, very incredible, very iconic farmer named Alexander who was photographed with his shotgun and drone detector while he was farming his land, literally just getting food from his soil, and they intentionally killed him with a drone. So I went back to specifically speak to farmers because, and the Soviets did this with the Holodomor, it's about repressing food, people that feed the nation. And all of these farmers I spoke to, east of Kherson, have to carry shotguns and drone detectors because the Russians realize that they can't take Kherson, they can't get north of that river anymore. So the point is to try and demoralize everyone, starve out the population. And Kherson is known for its strawberries, its watermelons, its food. Some of the comments I got on social media were from people that said, one day, years ago, when I was in Ukraine, we passed through Kherson, and I'll never forget the flavors. But that's what Russia does everywhere it goes. It brings this cloud of evil and darkness, of starvation, of demoralization. And so I made a film interviewing farmers about the dangers they face, and farmers that knew Alexander as well, and how he motivated them to still keep on going. And they had a choice. They could easily have gone to Mykolaiv, these farmers. They could have gone to Lviv, but they chose to stay because they said, this is our land. We're Chersonians. We shouldn't have to leave. We're never going to leave. And they've just endured nightmares of years of mines that were left behind by the Russians. They've only finally got these mines out of the ground. And now they've got to look up at the sky and worry about drones chasing them. And they're some of the bravest people I've ever met.
Розмінував, ну, по чуть-чуть.
Самі розмінували, вивезли біля 5 тисяч мін з господарства самі, противотанкових.
Аграрна галузь дуже важлива для Херсонщини, але з початку цього року виникла нова проблема. Це FPV-дрони і різного виду БПЛА.
Дрон на машину летить! Тікайте! Тікайте!
Гинуть люди, гинуть фермери. Це, напевне, дуже важко. І саме гинуть ті люди, які більше всього ризикували, які були прикладом такої мужності фермера.
5 вересня відкрила смс, там було аудіо, я натиснула плей і чую, кричить: Алічка, папу вбили.
Алічка, родінька, я не знаю, що робити. Папу вбило, Боже. Я не знаю, Боже, за що? За що? Я не знаю, за що?
Він гордиться тим, що дідусь його часто називав козаком. Дідусь сам говорив, що він як кошовий атаман Костя Гордієнко. Щедрий, веселий, голосний, з музикою, з піснями, з свистом.
Чим Олександр керувався? Ну, власне, тим, чим керуємося ми всі. Ми хочемо працювати, жити на своїй рідній землі, розбудовувати країну.
Можна зробити висновок, що його знали, да, і в деяких випадках реально вони могли на нього охотитися для того, щоб уразити. Так, зараз, я вважаю, є образ херсонського фермера, да, який реально відомий становиться на весь світ, який веде свою боротьбу не тільки з погодними умовами, відсутністю опадів для того, щоб отримати прибуток, а саме безпосередньо веде свою війну з ворогом, з тими засобами, да, які проти них здійснюють ворог, і вони не опускають руки і за тих близьких, за Україну.
Руки ми не опускаємо. Ми хочемо жити і працювати на своїй рідній землі. Де ми народились, ми можемо зробити, можемо спланувати, пристосувати.
Я тут народився, я виріс тут. На мій розсуд, це саме файне місце в Україні. Це моя земля, я повинен її обробляти.
Народ український незламний, яку має силу волі, силу духу, скільки б нас не гнобили, як би нас не ламали через коліно. І прикладом цьому є Олександр Гордієнко.
Before the invasion, Ukraine was the world's fourth largest grain exporter. Can you imagine that? But with seaports blocked, exports can no longer move through the Black Sea. Instead, shipments are forced onto trains crossing the western border and onto small rivers and move in through Romania further to Europe. And this matters because transportation is everything. Roads, railways and ports are essential for moving food both across Ukraine and out into the rest of the world. With so much infrastructure damaged every day or under threat, the challenges grow and so fast. Think about this. While corn planting in April and May may still be possible in some areas, not everywhere of course, harvesting and shipping are completely another story. Loss of workers, broken roads, destroyed farm equipment, all of it makes agriculture one of the hardest hit sectors. To make it worse, stored grains has already been destroyed in attacks. Images show massive storage facilities reduced to rubble. That's food gone. So many lives gone because people will just starve. So again, the question is, how important is it to support Ukraine's farmers? The answer is clear. It's not just about Ukraine. It's about keeping bread on tables across the world.
So do remember, you matter and Ukraine needs you now.
Thanks for watching us.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, share, comment and support the channel via donation.
And links are below.
Thank you.
Bye!